we're diving into a source that paints a really disturbing picture of America's near future. It lays out an argument for how a federal agency could, hypothetically, be turned into a weapon to take apart democracy from the inside. We're going to walk through exactly how it builds that case, step by step. So the source we're examining kicks things off with this chilling question, setting the scene in a hypothetical 2026. It basically suggests that the fiction we see in movies like Civil War could get a little too close to reality, asking you to imagine a country where the answer to the question, what kind of American are you, could literally be a matter of life and death. In this scenario, the source describes a nation just paralyzed by fear. You've got masked federal agents snatching people right off the street, from malls, from parking lots, with no explanation, no due process. Your citizenship is questioned on the spot. It's a picture of civil liberties just melting away, creating this constant feeling of paranoia. Okay, so to really make its point, the source zooms in from this big, kind of scary vision to one single tragic event. It focuses on the story of one woman, Renee Good, and presents her case as the spark that sets off a national crisis. So who was Renee Good, according to this source? Well, the point they make is that she wasn't just some random person. She was a 37-year-old U.S. citizen, a mom with 3 kids, a poet, someone people in her community knew. The source really leans into these details to make sure you see what happened next, not as a statistic, but as a deeply human tragedy. And this is the moment everything pivots on. The source states that on January 7th, 2026, right after she dropped her daughter off at school, Renee Good was shot 3 times in the face at close range by an ICE agent named Jonathan Ross, and she was killed. And right away, we see this huge clash in the story. The administration's official line was that the agent acted in self-defense, and they even labeled Renee Good a domestic terrorist. But the source claims that video footage showed a totally different story, that she was actually driving away, and that agents on the scene physically blocked medics from getting to her. And this is the part that's just wild. The justification that the source claims the administration finally landed on for using deadly force. It wasn't that she was a threat. It wasn't that she committed a crime. It was, and I'm quoting here, she was disrespectful. The source presents this as a terrifying new standard for law and order. From here, the source makes its most explosive and, frankly, most controversial argument. It starts drawing a direct and really startling historical line between these events in a hypothetical America and the rise of the Nazi Party in 1930s Germany. Now, before we go any further, let's just quickly get on the same page about the agency at the heart of all this. ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, is a real federal agency. Its official mission is to enforce immigration laws. But, and this is a big but, the source argues its entire purpose has been dangerously twisted. Right. So the absolute core of the source's argument is this. ICE, in this scenario, has stopped being a simple law enforcement agency. It's alleged to have become a political weapon, a kind of private army, whose real job isn't deportation, but to stir up trouble on purpose. This slide really lays out the direct comparison the source is making. It claims that, just like the Nazi brown shirts were used to create chaos and intimidate political opponents, ICE is being sent into opposition strongholds specifically to provoke public anger and create disorder. This all builds up to what the source calls a master plan. It argues the chaos isn't just some unfortunate side effect. It is the entire point. It's a deliberate strategy to grab and hold on to power. So here's the alleged playbook, broken down into 4 steps. First, you use ICE to create widespread chaos and fear. Second, you wait for the violent public backlash, which is exactly what you wanted in the first place. Third, you use that backlash as the perfect excuse to declare martial law to restore order. And the final step? You cancel the elections and seize permanent control. As evidence, the source points to rhetoric coming from the very top. After all the unrest, a high-ranking administration official is highlighted, standing in front of a banner with this incredibly chilling slogan, "One of ours, all of yours." Now, that phrase isn't new. The source provides the historical context, explaining that it was used by Reinhard Heydrich, a key architect of the Holocaust, to justify collective punishment and massacres. The source presents this modern use as a direct and terrifying echo of fascist tactics. The source offers another piece of evidence, a tweet from the U.S. Department of Labor. It reads, "One homeland, one people, one heritage. Remember who you are, American." Now, On its own, you might think it just sounds patriotic. But the source argues it's no coincidence at all. It draws a straight line from that tweet to the infamous Nazi slogan, Ein Volk, ein Reich, ein Führer, suggesting a deliberate and calculated adoption of fascist language. But the narrative doesn't just end there. A really crucial part of the source's analysis is that the American people are not passive victims in this story. No, they are fighting back. The source describes this sweeping, nationwide uprising. We see huge rallies in major cities with banners demanding justice for Renee. Protesters are getting creative with civil disobedience, like blasting music outside hotels where ICE agents are staying. All while there are serious calls to defund the agency and arrest Agent Ross. And what's really pouring gasoline on this fire, the source notes, is the fact that over 30 people had died in ICE detention centers in the year before this all kicked off, adding this really grim backdrop to the protests. This quote, pulled right from the source material, is used to really capture the spirit of the resistance. You see a Vietnam veteran confronting ICE agents, defending his community, and telling them that they're the ones who are safe there, not the other way around. So this all brings us to the conclusion of the source's argument. It frames this entire conflict not just as a series of protests, but as a defining moment, a genuine fork in the road where the future of American democracy itself is hanging in the balance. The source ends on a note of caution, but also maybe a little bit of hope. It argues that the one big difference between what it describes and the 1930s is that today we have 90 years of history as a warning. We have the books, we have the films, we have the first-hand accounts. We know how this story can end. And so the source leaves us all with this final, really provocative question. When the very institutions meant to protect a democracy are allegedly being used to tear it down, what is the true power of the people? What does it actually take for citizens to successfully stand up and defend their own future?